question right here on the program. But in the meantime, we always like to focus on a particular area before we do open up the phone line. And for today, we want to find out what compensation is available for victims of unlawful arrest, torture, and degrading human treatment. That seemed to be a lot. Unlawful arrest, one. Torture, two. Degrading human treatment. And they're actually strong terms. Degrading human treatment. Well,
Of course, they're strong terms, but they all come hand in hand. They come together. They work
meaning
together
also
for
too
good.
that they actually happen.
Yeah,
They do
actually
happen to
happen,
people.
and they can
So
happen at once to one person.
okay.
But putting it in those many terms is to define what the provision had made available for us as citizens to uphold our fundamental human rights, especially as it deals with our dignity, of human person and our liberty in the country, ability to move around and have our freedom as human.
So what is unlawful arrest?
Well, unlawful arrest just simply means an arrest of a person without any probable cause or any order coming from the court of law or the appropriate authorities. So when there are no such orders and there are no such authorities or warrants coming from the appropriate authorities to hold one against his will,
court.
exactly, which is either a court or any of the security or law enforcement agencies. Now, when such arrest is done to hold the person without against the person's will, or to hold the person against the person's right to exercise his freedom of movement or freedom of expression, if there are such arrests that is done without any form of probable cause, it's called an unlawful arrest. Yeah.
So you mentioned any security agency, meaning, for instance, that
like
the police.
The EFCC can do that as well.
Okay.
The police can do that.
They can arrest without a court order. Perhaps they don't need that because they are already.
When it's unlawful, it means it is not lawful. It's not legal. So unlawful arrest doesn't mean it's right.
I'm going by the definition you're giving. You say it has to be there has to be a court order or anything.
There has to be a court order coming from these authorities to initiate the arrest before it becomes lawful.
Because what I wanted to ask is, does it mean that if, for instance, some policemen may be doing their normal duties and they find out that there's a certain chaos in a particular area, can they just rush in there, maybe when they do understand what's going on, maybe make a few arrests?
Now, when a particular crime had been committed in the presence of the police, that the police had seen, they actually have a right to arrest. We'll get down to that because I would expatiate and focus on the rights the police have to arrest before the act of arresting can be declared unlawful or lawful. Yeah.
Okay. So, does it mean now that the police have the right to arrest without any cause? Still almost answered, but now this is where you really get to explain.
Definitely. Yes. So the Nigeria as a country, it's a signatory to a lot of international treaties that deal on human rights. One of such treaties is the United Nations on the Declaration of Human Rights. That in one of the provisions for fundamental human rights and protection of fundamental human rights, there's a provision for treating all persons fairly at all times, which is upholding dignity to human person. However, the Constitution has also enshrined that in Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution that talks about dignity of human person and that all persons should be treated without any form of a degrading treatment or torture whatsoever. Now the essence of this provision is to protect individuals or protect the citizens of the country, And then, of course, if a crime is committed, the police has been empowered by the Police Act to arrest such person who is suspected to have committed the crime. The police also have a power to preserve the law. The police have the power to protect life and properties in Nigeria, as well as preserve the rights of persons, So in exercising their duties, of course, they need to uphold the fundamental human rights and not infringe on them. However, they are empowered to also exercise their ability to arrest or their power to arrest. This is also extended to other enforcement agencies, like I earlier mentioned. But then the police cannot arrest anybody without a cause. Sometimes some persons come up to say that they are victims of a police arrest, that they hadn't done anything. Let's say they were just, passing where there was a police patrol and then they were arrested. Now, the police can arrest based on reasonable suspicion. And what is reasonable suspicion is what is reasonable to the common man, even to the person who has been arrested. So if you were arrested without a cause, and the reason for arresting you is based on reasonable suspicion.
Like I just get up and I start walking by 12 noon. 12 midnight, and
exactly.
I'm just
and you're going suspiciously.
Yeah.
And then your activity dictates that there's an intention to commit a crime, or there's a crime that has been committed.
As far as I'm concerned, even if I'm not doing anything suspicious at 12 midnight,
and then you were, of course, if you're investigated
already,
and you're not
raises
found,
a lot of concern.
Exactly. So if you're investigated and you're not found guilty of committing any crime at all, because the police has the power to protect us as well as our properties and preserve the law of the land. So if you're investigated and you're not found guilty of committing any form of crime, then you're going to be released and public apology will be leveled on you. You can even be compensated for being detained without committing any crime. Yes, we're going to go there. Those are the remedies available to victims
so eager
of
to hear
unlawful
that.
arrests.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the police cannot arrest without a cause.
Okay, but if
But
they have
are
reasonable
empowered
suspicion,
to arrest, yes.
reasonable suspicion they can actually arrest. All right. Now, sometimes some people may have called in, or you may have heard some stories, and they're like, well, they were arrested and even tortured. What happens when something like that actually happens? Is that right?
The issue of torture, it's infringements on your constitutional rights, and of course, torture violates the provision of Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution. Torture just means a particular act has been done on you to inflict injury or to inflict any form of affliction on you. Sometimes it's done to elicit data from you. Sometimes it's done to make you admit to the commission of a particular crime or offense or an act. And then sometimes some promises are even made to you to ensure that the data and the commission of that crime would be admitted by you. All of them fall into torture. Now, most of the reports that we get sometimes, especially calls that come in, you hear people say that they were tortured to close suffocation. Some people say they were beaten. Say that they were inflicted with serious injury at the point of arrest, or even at the point that they had wanted to give evidence. Now, even the Evidence Act does not support torture in eliciting information that would be very, very necessary to accumulating evidence, especially in investigation or when a crime is committed. So torture is an infringement of the rights of every citizen, and the Constitution does not uphold torture, as well as other human rights treaties that we have domesticated into our laws. So torture is not in any way permitted. So it does
not support
exercise,
it doesn't support the fact that the reason behind it could be because you want to get information from this person. Because at the end of the day too, I would ask how would you even trust such response from this person you've tortured? Because the person may have just told you what you wanted to hear, just so you stop torturing them, you stop beating them, for instance. But yeah, some security agents have actually employed this.
Even as a suspect, your dignity of human person it cannot be violated to a great extent. You can be limited to movement. That's at the point of arrest, where the court of competent jurisdiction had given an order, or the appropriate authority had given an order that you should be arrested. Even at the point of arrest, the essence of the concept of dignity of human person, especially for a suspect, is to mandatorily make sure that you're being told the grounds of your arrest as a suspect. So you still exercise your right to dignity of human person.
So if they come to arrest me,
exactly.
which they won't,
you know, so when they come with a warrant,
I could like ask
you
why,
should mandatorily
why
be told the grounds for your arrest. You know,
but sometimes they just come and they're shutting you up. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
That shows, that actually shows that there's proper treatment of you as a human being.
No, but if they say that, like, they have shut you up, you cannot say anything again. If they say that whatever you say can be used against you in the court of law,
that is your right to even remain silent, because it's safer for you to be silent. You can say something at the point where whoever it is you want to be present at the point where you're saying any or making any confessional statements would be present. So you have a right to remain silent, and then you also have a right to be entitled to get a lawyer or any person you so trust to evidence your confessional statement or to evidence you talking at the point, but you should be silent at the point of arrest.
Interesting. So let's get to the juicy part, the most interesting now. What remedies are available for a victim of unlawful arrest?
Why do you say it's the juicy part?
Because I like compensations, and I mean, especially if one has been, unlawfully arrested, and then you talked about public apology and all that. So are they going to come on radio and say, okay, on so day we arrested Ruth, but we're here to say we're sorry, and possibly
it's
giving
also
her
part of public apology. Anyway, remedies available to a person who is a victim of unlawful arrests. It's of course the law has the power to pronounce those remedies to suit the situation, especially when the person who have been arrested is not found guilty of the offenses of which he was alleged to have committed. Now, for every person, see the way you're looking at me, you're so interested.
Of course.
Okay, for a victim of unlawful arrest, one of the remedies is monetary compensation. Now, the court is quite liberal in making that award to the aggrieved party. And then the aggrieved party, like I earlier said, must not be found guilty of the offenses so alleged. However, the person would have to tell the court, that this is what they want, make claims. That is how it is. You make claims. It's what
you want your compensation to be?
Yes, what you want the compensation to be. Then the court now awards the compensation. You have to make a claim, for how much this unlawful arrest had.
Since we're talking how much now, so it seems they will not buy gain. When you tell them you want 10 million, the court will just put that order through and they give you. So they are going to buy gain.
It's in the court's discretion to give an award. So
sounds
it wasn't
like a transaction.
Of course. Everything in life is a transaction, but then that's what happens, really.
Okay.
Now, I would say that unlawful arrest is not criminal, it's tort. So when you're initiating a suit against the agency or the police that has unlawfully arrested you, it's going to come under civil suits. So why initiating that, except where there are, other issues that had come up, let's say torture, inhuman treatment. Of course, all of them come under torts. But if there are any other additional instances that would warrant it being a criminal case, it usually comes under the civil suits. So when you go and initiate the suits, one of the remedies is that the court might award you monetary compensation. A second remedy is public apology. Of course, I stated that earlier, and you were really happy.
I want the apology. I want both.
So you can be apologized to publicly. And then another possible remedy is injunction. An injunction would restrain or control the agency from, making such act to reoccur again. So it would stop them from reoccurring again. And most times parties would get an ex parte injunction without the knowledge of the other person. That's what ex parte injunction is. The court, gives you that order that such agency or such party who is guilty or who is complained against would refrain from taking such uh, initiating such arrest again or taking such actions again. So they would be stopped, and then they will not be told before that order is given, because it's a plea you're making to the court. Thank you.
Okay, so we don't want anybody to think now that they would just start going to the court and say, "Oh no, I was unlawfully arrested." You need for it to be unlawful, it has to be outside of what the law allows one.
Exactly.
And you also have to be innocent before you can lay any claims for damages and any to say that you want some form of remedies or compensation, whether monetary or public apology. All right. In any case, though, this is what is found when we're talking about compensation that is available for victims of unlawful arrest, especially when there are cases of torture and degrading human treatment. Well, if you have further questions, if you have any experience, perhaps something like this
or contributions,
might have happened to you. You want to find out exactly what to do, feel free to call in and ask. If you have other questions in other areas, feel free to join the conversation at this point. The number to call is 081 89991011. That is 081 89991011. It's Pro Bono Chambers on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. Let's get to hear from you. Good morning. Hello? I can't hear you.
Morning.
Hello, can you be more audible? Maybe. Okay, that was quite low. Please try and call back, and I do hope we will hear you a lot better when you do. 081 89991011. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Mr. Ike.
All right. Mr. Ike, we are listening to you.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello? Yes, I'm hearing you now. I'm hearing you, yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Ike, go ahead.
Yeah, please, there's something I want to, like, you have a tenant and the tenant is not keeping to the rules of the apartment you rented out to him, and his wife is very insultive, and the rental is not yet matured, and being so hostile. Do I have to go to court and then obtain this quick notice permit from court, giving him the necessary time to back even before his rent expires, instead of maybe having a serious problem with the tenant? So, can one go to court and get a quick notice order before the rent expires?
All right. Thank you very much for calling, Mr. Ike. Okay, if you would listen to me well, before you go to the court, you can get a lawyer to write to these tenants, to quit your property, and then you're going to be ready to make refund for the remaining term that is hasn't expired on the property, because one of the very important conditions for a tenant to occupy a place of a landlord is that the tenants should be of good character, shouldn't be of such character that would inconvenience the landlord. So if you are not satisfied with the character of the tenants, and the tenant's character can cause you trouble, probable trouble that would lead you to committing a crime, then it's good for you to get a lawyer to write to this tenant quitting the property based on his character, and that you're ready to make refunds for the term he hasn't stayed in the property.
won't he be required to make maybe a little extra compensation for an abrupt kind of
It's not
movement?
abrupt. It's not abrupt. That's why I said it's based on a reason. That's why I
Yeah,
said
there's a reason.
the
Yeah, but
reason
then
is that
they're
the
just having fun doing whatever they're doing. They're not suddenly you tell them, okay, come and leave
a
my
tenant
house.
has a tenant has right to peaceable enjoyment
Okay.
of a place after he had paid his rent. He has a right to that place. That right should not be infringed by the landlord. That's one. But then when you stay in a particular property of the landlord and you will incur issues or debts or crime, and you would not go by the rules, let's say for instance paying utility bills that you ought to have paid, with other tenants, to make sure that you do not default the laws of the appropriate authorities who guard those utilities, then the landlord has a right to make sure that things are properly done. If they are not properly done and you're very disobedient to, allowing that things go as it ought to, even with or without the tenancy agreement given to you, then the landlord has a right to get the services of a lawyer to serve the tenant based on his character and the defaults herein mentioned to leave the property, and then he makes refund of the rent remaining for the term the tenant hasn't exhausted.
All right. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Please turn off your radio.
All right. This is John calling from
John.
Hello?
Hello, John.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning.
All right, John, you're welcome. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Sometime ago, back then, 2012, I think. So I was, I just got arrested. So because I was a very stubborn boy, then being very stubborn boy, I was like, okay, why would he be arrested? Because he's actually a military man. He did something of which is on his, his right, I know. Thinking, because even when they gave the judgment, the final judgment, it was compensated. So when I went to the police station, I was trying to explain to the police people, because even my mom and my stepmom, my elder sister, they don't want me to go because they know even right from vibrating. So when I went there, I started shouting at the police station that why would they lock up my dad, this, that. So later they now got me. They had to lock me up. That I'm very stubborn. So that time they locked me up. After like 48 hours, they now transferred me to another cell. Because I was shouting, even when they locked me, I was shouting. So they transferred me to another cell. Being very stubborn there, the cell that they put me, they were maybe criminals there. So then even when I got there, I explained to those people. They now said, they now even left me, they didn't do anything. So I was still shouting. So after that 48 hours, they now left me. They now released me. I went home. Before I came back, they transferred my dad to another station. So that I now asked them of the station where they transfer my dad. Even my mom did not want me to know where they transfer my dad because it's the headquarters in Ogun State. So then they didn't want me to know because they know I will go and cause another trouble there. So from there, after they compensated my dad, after the judgment and everything, I tried to do something. I tried to go back as in.
Hello. I think we lost that, and that was the point where he was going to make his point, I guess.
Anyway,
maybe he tried to go back to get compensation for himself, that
really?
Perhaps he was unlawfully arrested because he came to ask them about his father.
I stated, the functions of the police, one of which is if they have a right to prevent the commission of a crime. They have a right to apprehend a suspected offender. So if you think your father was unlawfully arrested, and then the best way to exercise your thoughts or exercise what you think is right is to go to the police and shout and try to fight them. Of course, they will feel threatened with your actions, and then that's like a suspected offender, so they have a right to arrest you at that point in time. It's not arresting you without a cause. They are not arresting you without a cause. You have exhibited that you were ready to commit.
He was constituting nuisance. Yeah?
Exactly. So they arrested you rightly. You're not entitled to any compensation. If you feel that anybody close to you was arrested unlawfully, you follow the due process.
But like he said, yes,
go.
his father's case was
And then the father was compensated. So what would have happened if he had gone there to cause a scene or perhaps committed a crime and then he was put in cell? Later on, the father was released and compensated.
And he is now
and then
cell.
and then
with a genuine cause, actually.
Exactly, for a genuine cause of committing a crime. So, my dear, that was not the right way to have exhibited your knowing that your father was innocent. Next time, ask for advice and listen to be appropriately guided.
I'm sure he's
the
more
best
mature
way,
now.
to state that you have a right is not to incur a crime. That's just it.
Okay. Well, if he calls back to say anything more, well, we're here to listen. But if not, again, let's see who gets here next. The number to call is 081 8999 1011. Good morning.
Well, good morning.
Welcome to the program. What's your name?
I'm Victor.
All right, Victor, we're listening.
Actually, let us discuss for the program a little bit.
What?
What happened to those molested by the army?
What happens to those
Molested by the Nigerian army unlawfully?
molested by the Nigerian army?
Yeah.
Okay, like, can you give us an instance?
I was in a school campus some years back as a student. And along the line, I met this army guy who was on bike, likewise me. So he wanted to kiss me, and I said, young man, why can't you make in your lane? He said, you know who I'm talking to. And before you know, he started beating me up. And when he come to rescue me, he was now shouting that he's the Nigerian army. And nothing was done. So he just beat me up and he goes just down.
Thank you for calling.
All right. Thank you.
It's just same, if you believe that you've been unlawfully handled or that your dignity of human person has been violated on, you'd go institute an action against either the person or the authority that has violated your human dignity if you believe it was done to you. So same thing happens. The courts would ensure that a judgment is given for the person who is aggrieved against the person who is said to have committed the particular harm.
Okay. It's Pro Bono Chambers on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. What's your name?
Hello.
I can hear you. What's your name?
Good morning. My name is Michael.
All right, Michael. We're listening to you.
Yeah, my question is pertaining this pension scheme.
Okay.
This pension scheme, when you work with a particular company for like 7 years, and you already have your pension with a particular company, and now you are terminated, your contract was terminated in that company, and it came to a time whereby after searching for a job, you were unable to get another one. Now you go back to your pension company, asking them for like the 25%, according to the explanation before you registered with
Pension
them.
Reform Act, yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Yeah. So after giving you that 25%, it comes to a certain period whereby the problem, like presently what is happening in the country now, recession and co. Later on, you happen to need money to sort some issues out, like your children, your family, you're having health problem with one of them. Bring back to them now, telling them you need your money to like sort these issues out. They keep telling you no, they are not going to give you anything again since they're giving you 25% before, that the rest will be given to you when you are 50 years of age. Please, is there anything that can be done to things like that?
Okay. In answering your question, lawfully the provision in the Pension Reform Act had stated that you're entitled to 25%. The 25% stretch is for anytime you want to withdraw before the retirement age, before you retire, and then you're entitled to your whole sum as a pension sum. So the 25% is you can decide to withdraw 5%, 10%, 10%, so that it will make up to 25%. I don't think there's anything you can do about it except you would have to visit your pension, what's it called again? Your pension office. Yeah,
Okay.
visit them and ask if there's anything they can do for you. But going from the provision of the law, you're just entitled to 25%, and the rest comes after you retire.
Yes, I've done that. I went back to them when I was having issue with one of my sons, having health challenge. So I went to them telling them, I don't have a job for now. I've tried looking for job. Though at the end of the day, I was able to get something I was doing. But at the end of the day, still that very vehicle I was using was on hire purchase and it has problems. So I went back to them requesting that they should please assist me for money so that I can bring back that car in order after paying for the car finally.
Yeah, the advice what I can tell you is that, at the point you registered with your pension fund administrator as a pensioner or a pensioner, and then you sign those the contract agreements, yes, you're bound by it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're bound by it, and whatever has been provided, you're still bound by it. So if they said 25% until the time of retirement, that is just how it is. If it's some kind of insurance plan that enables you to withdraw all of your money when you're no longer interested, then that will be a different thing altogether. But if it's a pension plan that you've initiated with your pension fund administrator, as it is, and with the contract that has bound you and them, I don't think there's anything they can actually do, no matter the circumstances you're going through, except you retire.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling. As it is right now, can anyone choose to review that contract and say, I want to make
That's why I
certain
said
changes?
he can write. He can write to his pension fund administrator and make his plea. I don't know what the position is coming from that place, but I'm speaking from the provision of the Pension Reform Act.
Okay.
The recent 2014. That is where I'm speaking from. So if there's something else they can do for him outside what I've said, he needs to make more inquiry at the office.
Okay. All right then. 08189991011. Hello.
Hello?
Morning. Welcome to Pro Bono Chambers.
Good morning, ma.
Morning to you. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Mohammed Hussein.
Mohammed.
I'm Mohammed Hussein.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have a problem about my father benefits.
Okay.
So I call in order to get some help from you people.
Okay, so what have you done at all?
I done all the procedures. So I'm through with the procedures to 2010.
What procedures did you do?
No, I do all the procedures of going to the High Court and everything that the necessary thing that the government needs from me. I'm through with it. So the money came out 2012 or 2012, but the money didn't come to me.
Where did it go to?
I don't know. I went to the premium office to ask for them. They told me I should be patient. Time, and up to now.
Okay.
So how did you know the money came in the first place?
And I went to the premium office to check of this, and then the man that I went to him to check for it, then he told me that the money is out, but it's not ready for me up to now.
Okay, it's out. Not that it was sent. Or
are you the next of kin to your father?
Huh?
Are you the next of kin to your father?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think you should get a lawyer to oversee that stage where you are at right now? If they said the money is out and why it's not ready, were you given a reason?
No, they didn't give me any reason.
You should get a lawyer to go there and know what's happening.
Okay.
Get a lawyer to. Yes, just.
So I should go to. Am I going to Abuja in order to confirm the thing, or because I went to Abuja for the premium office?
Okay.
I went there and I asked the woman. She told me to be patient, and she's going to send something to me, and up to now, no result.
Okay, so you need to get a lawyer to, help you interpret the reasons behind them holding back this money, or someone to write on your behalf to enable them give you the reasons why this money is withheld. Probably the documents are not complete, or you were not the next of kin listed in your father's documents. So any of those, but you need to get someone to view that for you.
All right. So
okay.
I have a question. Am I going to help me, or the lawyer is going to help me? Am I going to find this person in Abuja, or is my place?
Anywhere you can get a lawyer, preferably in Abuja if you're coming to Abuja.
Hello, did you get that? Okay, I think he ended the call, meaning he got the information. I hope that will be helpful for him.
I pray so too.
All right, we have room for one final call, so feel free to call in and let's hear your question. It's Pro Bono Chambers on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. And, you get to call in and ask any question at all. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Hajara, calling from Lokogoma.
Okay, Hajara, you're welcome. We're listening to you.
Thank you. I say my own problem is that I was trying to call you day before yesterday, but I don't know whether you can answer my own question. My school credential was using Hajara Audu. So I got married to somebody. Then I want to open an account. They say I should bring national ID card or voter's card. So I have voter's card that I'm bearing my husband's name. So I use that voter's card and open an account. So along the line, we come divorce. The man divorced me. So now I come get a job. The appointment letter, they different. The account, they say I should bring account number. The account number is different. So I don't know how to do it now. I went to my bank. They say the BVN number, I can't change it. My school, this thing, I should change everything to my husband. And me and him, we are no more together. So I don't know. I need your advice.
Okay, so this is what you're going to do. You would go to High Court and then swear an affidavit stating that these names, Hajara Audu and the other names, they are one and same person. And that henceforth you want to be known and addressed as your own name, which is on the certificate, your name with your father's name. The way you swear that affidavit, you would hold it, attach the copy to that application, just submit it to the place where you were given a job. You're also going to submit the copy at the bank.
Okay.
Now, when you go to the court, what you should tell them is that you want them to state that these names, as they appear on the certificates and the means of identification, are one and same person. Henceforth, I want to be known and addressed as Hajara, then your surname.
Okay.
So mention all the names as it is in your certificate and your means of identification.
Okay.
Then state the one you want to be known and addressed as the last one. Submit it at the bank.
Okay.
I'm sure they will do something afterwards.
Okay, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling, Hajara.
You're welcome.
Bye. Okay, that does it for us on Pro Bono Chambers this Friday. So, are we good to go?
Oh, yes, we are.
All right, she can't wait to enjoy her Friday. But thank you to our in-house barrister, Adana, for being on Pro Bono Chambers this morning.
Thank you, Ruth.
And many thanks to those who called in. I do hope that the advice you've gotten will go a long way in helping your current legal situation. For more of such questions, you will have to wait until Monday, because Pro Bono Chambers comes your way weekdays only. So you wait, God willing. Next Monday, we would have another interesting session right here on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. And this is where I also say goodbye. I'll see you on Sunday in the afternoon. Yes, I will be here back at 1 p.m. In the meantime, do stay with us. More programs coming your way right here on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. My name is Ruth.
Join our diverse team of legal experts as we provide education and guidance to you, our listeners, on a broad array of issues raised by the modern legal landscape, absolutely free on Pro Bono Chambers, airing on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting.
Human Rights Radio.